It's the fact I know who you're talking about, Wayward. Hi, welcome to the stream. Of course, Minecraft does this stupid. Oh no, we're actually good. Yeah, you know the title. We're hitting 100,000. And of course, we get weird nature builds because that's not snowy. And now we're gonna Oh, let me out. Oh. Get me the fuck out of this. Duh! Oh my god, this entire thing. Oh, that's a goat. Yeah, I'm not dealing with this. If I could type. No, that's not the plan. Ooh, hello game lag. Hello there, Mr. Goat. Can I get a lovely free horn? That's okay. What do you want? There's another one. Snowpoof. There we go. God, I don't play this game for a while. My brain just goes, nah. I love bunnies. I have to kill our bunnies, which is sad, but... Damn. That's... going in the other direction. Oh, it's emeralds. Wee. That's a witch. Okay, we already know the we found raised people joke. Okay. Do, 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 do. Oh yeah. Where's the babies? I don't mean to start flying. Where's the You're a cow. I do not care for you. I care about the others. For a second I thought I missed that jump. I was about to actually be really embarrassed for myself. Damn. Can people just stop asking me to promote my shit? Eh. That looks dangerous. I didn't find any babies. Damn. I saw that number start skyrocketing. I'm in a tree. Fuck. I thought you were a dog for a second. I saw the white. That was weird. Come on. Exploration we go. Make it easier. Yeah, this would be the area where the foxes would spawn. That's fine. Oh, okay. There's a rabbit. Oh yes, I good love landing. It's a good old ice spikes. Oh, all I need is a village near me, and this is like reminiscence of a server I was on. Hippity hop, up we go. Whee! Love when that happens. That's what I like to see. Damn, I keep just ending up in trees. Quick little, pit stop. I thought that was one of the fake ones for a second. I was like, damn. Okay. Oh, I'm absolutely not here to rob you or anything. That would be absurd. Yeah, who would do that? Who would just come to a village to rob you of everything you have? That would just be cruel. Insensitive. Who would do that? Good sir, I don't think you know how to use a door. Do not tell me there's only one fucking chest here. They can have a chest. Or they can have a chest, they can have a torch. This village only had 2 chests. As much as I love the snowy biome, actually wait, no, I can get a fox probably. Or I can find a fox. Probably not though, but we'll see. Oh, hello, I have Ian Michael, I have... That's not, wow. No, I've eaten, but my brain's going to sleep. Hi, welcome, how was your day / night? My brain is really tired. I love how I instantly knew what the song was just because the app thing refreshed. Oh my god, why is there an army? I was like, do I have to go to bed early? No, my class got changed from 8:30 to 9. Because photo major teachers can't do shit on time. Oh, it's snowing! Oh. Yay! It's snowing. Pretty good. Just woke up from a nap. Was it a really good nap, or was just a whoopsie? Killer bunny. I know it's not a killer bunny, but hi. You're not my child, but hello. Also, completely off topic. Tell me why the fuck I randomly checked Twitter as Hasumi Thais. Nah, I was just like, oh, I'm so sorry, madam. Okay, it's a thunderstorm. That's great to fucking know. Nah, I was just like, I really want to hit 100,000, like, coordinates. So I was like, it's time to go zoomie. Because that's the only goal for the day. I need to cut my nail. I have a hangnail that's been bothering me recently. I'm gonna run into a tree, aren't I? No! I'm gonna run into the fucking ocean. Also, Wayward, you two's been pissing off Wayward. We're just gonna walk on water. We're gonna be God for a hot second. Or Jesus, I meant. Okay, burrito is cold outside. Perfect. Best way. Best way to take a nap. Land! That's one of the animals I love how it says snowy falls. It's just like, what the hell do you think is gonna happen? Oh? No, it's a beach. Also, I'm glad. Because, you know, a college student who was literally in the UK couldn't catch streams as much as I wanted to. I'm so glad you all were creative? That and chaotic as fuck for the confession stream. I'm so glad. That's all I wanted in life. Hey, yo, chill, Zeus! Fuck! Oh! Cool. I'll take some blindness, why not? Is that the only chest? I think that's the only chest here. Okay. Yeah, this one's tiny. Oh, I see you, fucks. Damn, he really said alright. He really said alright. No, I was like, is that gonna be a fun island? No. We go zoomy. Oh? Small island, it's fine. Oh? For a second I thought that this is just tiny island. Nope, never mind. Plains. Wait, what? Don't shush up, God. I saw that pop up. What's under me? Oh, it's fucking dripstone. Oh, those are just two creepers. Those are just two creepers stuck in a hole. Why didn't I know? Why didn't I get a notification from Twitch or Discord? Damn. It's just one of those days. One, when has Twitch ever been good at giving out notifications? Two, Discord, Discord just Discord. I was like, I sent it out, I swear. Oh, this is just straight up. I see amethyst. Oh god. I've entered into the void. Please, this isn't the alt channel. We don't need the void. God, I fucking need to do more shit on my alt channel. It's there for a reason. I see you. God, remember the days where you could just type 1 or 2 and it would give you the fucking game you wanted? I'll take some bread. Fuck you and your spawner. I do need gunpowder and redstone. Fuck your spawner. We can make more. Your string. Oh. Well, thank you, but also, wow. Listen, I have no hate for the glow squid. What I was about to say, no longer existent. It did the job for me. Fuck them. Fuck the glow squid. I want my piss cows. Now, hello. Hi there. I'm not here to do anything. I'm not here to rob you. Who would do that now? Certainly not me. I'm not here for anything. I'm also not going to commit murder on a small child. No, that's a Siamese cat. Yeah, also hi VR. I just realized I didn't say that. Hi, how are you? How was your day/night? The brain's kind of just okay. The fuck? Did I just witness childbirth? We're just gonna... Where the fuck did you come from? I'm pretty sure... Please don't spawn another fucking child, I swear to God. I'm pretty sure I just witnessed childbirth. Okay. I'm just gonna walk out. I didn't see shit. Move away from the villager. I should have just let you die. Please fuck off, good sir. I got his shoes. Ah, shit, my foot's asleep and I just, like, rolled it to move it. Ow. Of course I have phantoms on me. Because it makes sense. Also, ignore the amount of compasses I have. Those just aren't important. This is a huge-ass village. Bread. You want some bread? Bro, save me! Bread fucking saved our asses. It came to us going through customs. Also, our teacher was like, yeah, saltines would work, and we were just like, huh? Alright. Oh, my foot is now, like, badly asleep. That's negative. This is the way. Is that just a hole? That's just a hole. Oh. Oh no. What history period? I was about to be like, do not come for me with math. I'm gonna be honest, I should have failed like multiple math classes, but thank God for COVID. Because I despise math. But also, it's 1 a.m. Actually, I can't say shit. I'm an insomniac. Keyboard, let's not have you be fucked up. I can't afford to get a new one right now. The second I fucking jumped, I was gonna miss it. Lava. Toasty. Listen, I know it completely fuck up my insides, but like I just want to try lava. Like I know it's gonna completely fucking kill me, but I feel like it would just taste like. It would just taste like I'm eating the inside of a gusher. That poor skeleton. Wait, also, what the why do I get weird beach, like, generations? How we doing with the coins? We chillin'. Also, I'm gonna try to bully Wayward into giving us a new YouTube video. Because we get the UK vlog. We get shitty vlog content. Because, of course. We also can't somehow get 4 fucking clips. Same one slept for 4 days and about 8 times. Yeah, that counted. There was one day, I think I slept for like 32 hours straight. And I'm pretty sure that was after my first... It was not the first 24-hour stream I did. I'm pretty sure it was the second one. Or it might have been like the first retry. But I slept literally the entire day. Like I slept 32 hours just straight. I was so exhausted because the power went out, I kept the timer going, and I streamed longer than I should have. God fucking damn it, we're in a birch forest. So yeah, I was just kind of dead those 2 days, and like 3 people tried to message me for something. And like I responded, I was like, yeah, I've been sleeping like for 36 hours. Yes, why? Because I just did a 24-hour fucking stream. Actually, no, scratch that. I'm pretty sure it was longer. I'm pretty sure it was a 30-something hour stream. It was not continuous, but I was awake. We're just gonna try to do a 24-hour during the week stream. What? Why the fuck am I getting so much gravel? I see you bitches. No, just because I hate drowns just as much. Oh, good. There's a whole fucking... One of you died. Oh, fuck you. Do any of you have a trident? No, but you have a shit ton of kids. And I'm not even gonna question why. Because fuck them kids. Fuck you, I need coal. Why did that fail? The game's kind of laggy. I will give it that. The game's struggling. Yeah. I want to stream VR. I don't know if my son can actually capture what I want. A single mom who works hard. Fuck them kids. Just fuck them kids. I just have a really deep hatred towards baby drowns and an ungodly reason. Fuck. Is it worth it? Oh, we're going back for a second. ADHD Bingo Burr. Hello there. Hello, Jordan. Welcome to the stream. We're going on a trip to find this fucking map. I broke the map. Oh, I severely broke the map. What did I just see kill itself? Oh, it was a zombie. It's somewhere around here. I see it. Ooh, baby. Money, money, money. I mean, I will gladly take some TNT. Nice. I hear the spider. You good? I'm fine. I'm just a little bit tired. Because the weather's been kind of crappy. I can throw the emeralds in here. Huh? Okay. I was like, I don't think anything else can be dropped in, so. Oh, hi. Alright. Which way do we have to go? That's negative. I'm assuming it's this way. Yep. I think I have to stay in the door. Normal zombies, Evie, baby zombies, Helen, and baby drown. Piece of shit. Agreed? Yep. Normal zombies, I can take. Baby zombies, I will not hesitate to drop kick. And then baby drowns, I hope they never fucking exist, because fuck them and them out of this. I've never had a good fucking experience with a baby drown in my entire life. It's shitty. Any of y'all got trident? I mean, I already have 3. So I'm just like, oh, do you know how many fucking drowned spawners I'm gonna see? Because again, there's a Minecraft server I just don't talk about, but I'm just like, I'm not even sure if it's been updated. But I was like, I cannot wait to see the amount of fucking like drowned spawners people are just gonna be begging for when you can just drop them in finally. Yeah. Fuck baby zombie, fuck baby zombies, and just baby drowns are just the existence of like hell. Especially when they haven't tried it. Oh, I cannot. I would commit so many fucking crimes. What is up with the fucking unnatural amount of golden helmets I've been finding? Oh, hello, sunlight. It finally stopped raining. After. I can't do it right now. I can't do the Minecraft server right now because I'm in college. Seriously, I went mining for some reason. There was not one but 13 baby. Oh my god. Yeah, I can't do this Minecraft server right now because I'm about to get super fucking busy with school. So if I drop off the face of the earth, I'm alive, I swear. But we'll definitely see. Yeah, we'll see in like, ask me in like a month. Definitely right now. Definitely not right now. But I'm on board. I just cannot do it right now. God, fucking damn it. 13. I would have just quit the world right now. Is that a ship? Actually, ooh, wait, hold up. Night. Where's the night vision potion? Can't believe I forgot to do this. There we go. I can see the ocean now, bitch. Where's the dolphin? Ah, look at the dolphins. My favorite biome. Damn it, we can't go see my favorite biome. For people now. Fuck you. Dolphin. I have a soft spots for dolphins. You can't see my face right now, but what the fuck is this? Pit stop. We got to. Hello, good sir. I'm here to fuck up your life. That is terrifying. This is fucking terrifying as well. I heard him. Anyways, bye. Bye, VR game! Alright, I'm gonna head back to studying LSD, but won't chat. Hope you in stream. What the fuck? Now, welcome to what we all call the Minecraft bullshit. Because this is this. What? Excuse me? Okay. Yep. Amen. Dolphins are the best sea animals. There's another vindicator. This is why I have subtitles. This is why I play with subtitles on. It's just when I can see where mobs are. It's on that side. we just have some good old Minecraft bullshit happening. You know, the usual. Nothing wrong to see here. Just some Minecraft bullshit doing its best. I see the Vindicator. I'll go stab him in a second. Oh, and I have an evoker. Thank you, good sir. Huh. A lot of these areas I've never... I missed. We're gonna ignore that. Thank you, good sir. I did actually not mean to open that. You know you're creative. Yes. Believe me, I know. That's the entire point of this world. This is not a survival world. This is just a pure creative world that we have. Hello, skeleton. Oh, it's one of these. Die, please. Oh, he dropped. Is that a baked potato? It's the fact that it was a baked potato. Sorry, I've never seen a zombie drop a baked potato before.
You never have?
And not my experience. I know they can. I've just never had it happen to me.
Oh, wow.
I've always gotten just a normal, never baked. What?
I'm messing with it.
Oh. I'll take a cat disc. Everything else can just go away. Damn, you all got two blacksmith in here. The fuck is this? Thank you. Alright. I'm assuming the rest of them are upstairs. Yep. Whee! I love when that happens. You'll just get the random glide. Whee! Creeper. I need your gunpowder. Literally, I need it just for potions. I saw you. Yeah, I casually get sniped by the illegal bow. Huh. Thank you. That's cool. I don't have any friends that want to join us. I have no friends. I have friends, but not that play Minecraft as often. Or that, like, are willing to be a part of a server at the moment. Because either they dropped off the face of Earth, aren't interested in doing anything server-like just now, or, just don't stream. Hello, good sir. I'll take that totem. Ooh. Hello, I'll take 2 of them for sure. Doesn't go into the the absurd amount I have in an ender chest. Thank you. We about to be rich as fuck. Well, yeah. We love having an illegal bow in Minecraft. It's just a great thing. Cool. I'm sad there's no allays in this area. Damn. We just have a little army growing. Wee! Wee! Got anything in here? No, just some bookcases. Alright, that's fine. I'm not gonna get over that empty chest. God damn! My fucking god. How much more shit am I gonna, how much more random shit am I just gonna, English. Hard. What other shit am I just gonna randomly connect on this journey? Oh yes, why is there an orgy happening in here? I hate myself for that comment. Also, I just think it'd be cool if, like, if you hit a creeper with, like, fire aspect, it just fucking explodes. But that's just in my opinion. Zombie villager grounds. Like, I just think that'd be cool as hell. Now the creeper. He dead as hell. Give me that. Yoink. I wanna know what was in that pit. Ow. Of course I got the boots. I'll take the leads. Shulkers. We're on the lime green one. Yep. This is gonna get filled up real fucking fast. It's just because of the fucking totems. Keep the arrows. Oh god, my mouse sensitivity. Oh god, yeah, my mouse sensitivity's fucked. Don't know how. Don't remember what I had it at. Hello, why is there so fucking many of you? This is not the game this was not the game? This is not the song I thought it was. I thought this was a completely different game. Song, oh my god. My brain really is just going to sleep. Is that an upside down villager? I mean, this area I can burn down, because we'll never be back here, because we already have another woodland mansion that's closer, to a certain degree. So all I'm saying is, I can commit some light arson, and not feel bad. God. Damn. Some light arson's never hurt anyone. I don't care. This is a piece of history in my world. It's not needed because we already have one. And again, some light arson never hurt anybody. Oh, skeletons on the fire. God. Oh my god. There's just no ceiling. The ceiling just does not exist. I did my job. Rip like part of this dark forest. Oh my god, I picked up the carpet. There ain't no way that's my first time working with carpet in this game. The roof was just gone. Damn, I did not let this breathe. I just straight up said burn it. I was about to be like, yeah, there's no way this room is still intact. Oh my god. I really said no remorse. I was about to say, this area looks too well intact. Never mind. Whoopsie. Oh, the phantoms are burning alive as well. Perfect. This roof is gone. Yep. Yeah, some light arson never hurt anyone. Some light arson never hurt anyone.
What are you doing?
Burning up with the mansion.
Oh my gosh.
It's fine. It's fine. It's not the closest one to me. We are like 85,000 blocks away from it. Like 90,000 blocks away from it. It's fine.
Listen, if they didn't want it to be burned down, they should not have made it out of wood.
Yikes. I'm gonna attempt something.
I was like, what are you about to attempt?
I'm gonna see how far I can get in the spiral abyss.
Oh, have fun.
I'm not very far.
No, you got a good team. How is this room still alive? This room is not This room is not alive. I did not let this space breathe. Can't wait for someone just to randomly... First time me, why is the wood in the mansion on fire? Casual arson. Imagine it just starts raining. I would cry. More fire. I love just seeing all the wood items, like, still, like, not all the non-wood items just staying. I've done my job. And back on our quest. Oh, I saw that go up. But that's going down. Oh, it's a birch. It's a birch and dark oak. Where's the jungle? Oh. Huh. They gave finally bit the allegations. Back on the adventure. That did nothing absolutely wrong. It was just a mild arson. There is no proof that I committed this arson. What do you mean, officer? That is 80,000 blocks away from me. I didn't do shit. What about this stuff? Another world. Never mind. It didn't beat the allegations. We found the jungle. Listen, it's a dark forest, birch jungle combination. It's not broken that pattern. I was like, damn, did both of us yawn at the same time? Funny thing is, I don't know if it's just because I've not been exploring the jungles. I just fucking scratch that. I was about to be like, I never found a jungle temple. Let me just shut the fuck up. Thank you, zombies, for disarming the traps. Oh, ew, and it's a baby zombie? Go fuck yourself. Got him. That was not even worth it. It moved. I was like, I know there's nothing on the top, right? Yeah. So it's just this. Yeah, no, fuck that. Break it. I'll take the gold. I'll broke the redstone. Maybe I just need to complain more. That seems to be the way to go in this world. Because I was about to say, like, I've yet to find, like, a jungle temple. I don't know if it's just because I haven't explored it. Fucking one summons. The game listens. Oh yes, I see the cryo team plus Raiden. Also, chat, we've discovered that I don't have streamer chat. I just have, whatever the fuck luck that is when it comes to pulling. Yeah, but for, like, the London vlog, we're missing, like, 4 videos because they just will not transfer. Which, it's sad because they're really fucking funny. I don't know, I'll post them somewhere. I'll post them on, like, my TikTok being, like, video parts that just would not transfer. Just the London vlog sneak peeks of things that could not make it in. Oh, we found a desert. Damn. How many temples am I gonna find? Good sir, I've already spent an hour. I saw the bunny. That's water. Okay. Alright, we're 10,000 blocks away from the goal. Then we'll set up a portal and then another there, and then we'll call it a day. And then I'll just very quickly go bully wayward to edit the video. Oh, hello. Mushrooms. 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 The lesbians would appreciate this. The cottagecore lesbians are happy. We found a mushroom biome. This is what, like the second one we found in this world without cheats? Technically with treats.
With treats.
Technically, holy shit, this is a big boy. Why couldn't we find this one? Holy shit, this is huge. Damn, we really got unlucky with our first one. This is the second one we found that I didn't have to use like the locate command. Cause I was like, we're in creative. Yeah, what the fuck? Why couldn't we get this area? We got scammed. Chat, we were scammed. Oh yeah, 100% we got scammed. They gave us like a tiny island. This shit kinda big. Oh, it's a mushroom field. No fucking wonder. Damn, we really got scammed out. Fuck this game. This game got favorites. And I'm clearly one of them / not one of them. We're 9,000 blocks away. We're about to be free. Also, yeah, that was literally the only goal. I was just gonna end it unless it either crashed or I actually got there. Because I have shit I need to work on. I need to go bully my editor. I also need to bully my artist. Actually, no, my artist is probably still hung the fuck over. I'll just show up at her house tomorrow after class and just be like, yo, we need a thumbnail. I feel like if I message her, I can get her to send one. Why did I hear a zombie? The sun is setting. You should not be out here, my dude. Keep me flying. Fuck yeah! You saw it. I'm gonna hit a tree. Surprisingly, missed all of that. Please tell me that. Ah! I hit ground. Flower biome! And a swamp? Ooh. Happy vibes. Where's a witch hut? Need to very quickly stab one of Ray's kind. We got the serotonin with the flower biome. Slimes. Oh, it's a full moon. Slimes are gonna be out like fucking crazy. Ow. I said that as a joke, like, as a fact. Not expecting there to actually be a shit ton of slimes. Even though it's in the fucking Minecraft code. Oh, of course, it's a Tega. Ow. Oh, we're in a big taiga. Time to go, time to go. Fuck you, spider. Figuratively and literally, I don't like spiders. Oh, thank God I avoid the taiga bullshit. Thank God. Oh, that's ocean.
I'm all here, bro. I thought you crashed my game for a second.
That would be a very Alhaitham thing to do.
It would be.
I somehow got an axe from one of the guys I stabbed earlier. Ooh, coal, thank you. We're not gonna take the curse of vanishing. Ow. Pretty block. There's so many drowned. Ow. The fuck was that? Did I just hear salmon die? Oh, fuck. Alright, I think we're good. Oh, there's a fire. I didn't start it. I didn't start that fire. Officer, I did not commit that arson. Get me out of the taiga. I do not care for the wolves right now. I just kind of want to be out of this biome. Sorry.
I did it. I finished 6.
I was like, did you do 6 star it?
I want to get to the one where it's like the ones that change every time. I still haven't gotten to those yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was about to say that you 36 star it. You are not even there yet.
No, that's why I said I need to at least get this far.
I was like, why am I hearing Death Note? Oh, we just like skipped, I think, a snowy biome. Ah, what did I hit? Oh, I hit a glacier. Because of course I did. We are 400 away. Ow. Dude, my hiccups are painful as hell. There we go. Wee. Wee. We're going on a trip to get to 100,000 zooming through the world. We go zoomie time. 100 more. 300 more. And then we done for the day. Let me out. 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 Fuck this biome. Why is this so big? Good sir, I do not want to fucking be here. I want to be nowhere near this biome. Oh, cool, that's a tree. $2,000 more away, woo! Oh, hello, Minecraft music. Oh, I'm in the ocean. I'm going to actually be sad. Why the fuck are we only 100 away? Or 1,000 away? I'm gonna be really sad if this is just in the fucking ocean. Oh, hi, monument. Not important. I saw you, Guardian. Never forget the day I was a part of a server and I said, hey, can we not kill this one thing because I need to get it for the achievement? And they said, oh yeah, and fucking did it anyways. It was like right next to our base too, and I was like really mad. I was like, I asked you not to kill it. And it was like partially drained. Up. We reached it! Woo! And we're in the middle of the fucking ocean. Alright, closest like land civilization.
I roll with a crew of problematic bachelors, and we call ourselves the Squad.
I just butchered your name. Hi, welcome to the stream. How are you? How was your day? Oh my god, wait, hold up. And there's a raid. What the fuck?
Whoever decided to put their hands on my kids, please come outside so I can peacefully break your legs.
Oh, hi, bye. Hello. Hi, thank you, Emerald. Thank you so much for the raid. I feel like Wayward's probably editing things. But hi, welcome to the stream. How was your stream? Is it slash now? I know there's a new shout out command. Lots of fun. Alright, let's see. Was that the right command? I don't think it was. I haven't been on Twitch in a while. I recognize the command. Fuck. What is the command? Ah! What the fuck?
Whoever decided to put their hands on my kids, please come outside so I can peacefully
Oh my
break your
gosh.
legs.
Jump in the stream with raids. Hi, thank you so much for the raid and the follow. My goodness. I haven't been double rated in so long. Okay. There's that one. I kind of, again, brain kind of forgot all the commands. So, there we go. I did that wrong. My bad. I'm overwhelmed. Hi, thank you so much. There we go. We'll do the fancier thing later. Hi, thank you so much for the raids and the follows. How was your guys' stream? Of course. Let's see if that works. No matches. Wait. Oh, ew. Disgusting. It's like the actual shout out thing. Well, I'm glad to hear that. We found it. There we go. That sounds entertaining as hell. And then Emerald. Emerald, I love your name. The channel, bitch. Oh, I accidentally cut the thing in. I swear I'm not usually like this. It's... Oh. We gotta wait a minute.
What is Goose Goose Duck? That sounds very entertaining. Thank you so much. I'm really happy.
Alright, there we go. I almost did slash raid. That would have been bad. We still out here. We'll wait a little bit longer. The shoutouts should come back. But hi, welcome in. It's Liam. Okay, never mind. I know what game we're talking about. Land! Fuck those drowns. I don't care. Land. Land. Everything just decided to get really loud. We did it. We did the goal. We're at 100,000. I've achieved it once. I will do it again. God, the last time I did that was like a year ago, but B, you're not my son, so I don't care. You are not my children. I need to make a texture pack room with the goat where the bats look cool. Oh.
Fact. Custom Rolls Water means fun time and it's free. Ooh. Ooh.
I might get it. I might get it. That might be fun to do for something I plan in the future. Fuck. Oh, cool. It threw me in a fucking hole. It's fine. What are we doing in Minecraft? We were gonna hit 100,000 and then find the way back through the nether. Because I just like being very weird. So we get to do stupid things. And just see me go through the nether. There we go. It went through. Took a while. Had to register that for a second. It's also, we also did commit some very small arson crimes, but that was fine. It's fine. It was just a little arson.
What's the stream?
I will. We're gonna edit once we get back, because I was like, I have other things to do, but I want to stream arson. I must test something. The arson command still works. I'm so fucking happy. I yoinked that from someone. I yoinked, oh god, please tell me Minecraft did not just crash. Lodestone. Compass. And then best command, I yoinked it from someone. I don't know if I can say they no longer stream, but I'm gonna say they kind of just disappeared off the face of the fucking planet, so I just took it from them. Anvil. I know what song's playing. My brain literally is going to sleep. It's fine. Okay. Okay. Now it's the fun part. Because we have... There it is. There's a Technoblade build. Now we have the fun thing. I'm trying to get back to spawn without killing myself. Ooh, it got really dark all of a sudden, but that's fine. Whee! Wow, the game really said we're gonna already fuck you over. Thanks, game. Damn, we already gotta go barricading through. If you know the drill, you know the drill. We've done this way too many times already. Bedtime! That actually worked. No, it didn't. I'm pretty sure this just continues. Possibly. 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 Haha! Of course, there's a fucking bastard already. A good stream. Thank you, I will. And well, thank you so much for the raid and the follow. Shut the fuck up, Gast. Why is this a big boy? Oh, you are an unnecessary big boy. I already have enough soul speed shit. Hi. Alright, listen. I also got beef against the fucking brutes. So this is just some good old-fashioned... I'm a petty bitch and I despise them. I just realized I'm in the same time zone now as one of you fucks. I can bully you. Why the fuck are you awake? I saw the chest. Are you okay, good sir? I know he's standing on the fence, but from Bruce's perspective, it looks like he's stuck in the wall. I thought I saw a chest. I was lied to. Chest. That's a gold block. That's not a chest. No, this is fine. Ogden growls at bestie. I did nothing. I did nothing wrong. Shit, I was like, what happened to the fireworks? I was about to say, there ain't no way this is just smooth sailing. So either we're gonna see the portal or we're gonna run into the build. Which works out either way. Bedtime. See, sometimes explosions is the best option. I'm honestly too lazy to use the fucking elytra for this. Actually, hold up, wait a second. Honestly, we might either run to the Nether College portal, which I would not be surprised for, or we'll find the, oh, hello. Or we'll find, we're probably gonna run to the... Probably gonna find the... We're probably gonna miss the portal and just end up finding the, Oh god, my entire inventory is gonna get filled yet again with fucking netherite. Oh, never mind. We're good. Hole. Hole. I was about to be like, what? The sound I heard was not a ghast. If this is open, I know where I am. Or if this is the... I've not been here. Again, I have vendettas against fucking brutes. If I say good, so you could live or you can fucking die. It's not, I don't give a fuck either way. How the fuck is there already another one? It's just the power of the bullshit. Oh, it's one of these ones. Oh. I didn't even... Oh my god, I didn't even real... Yeah, I'll gladly take the... Oh, shit. No, I'll take the guild. I'll take the spectral arrows. Don't mind me. Can y'all stop fucking upstairs? Thank you. Yeah, I'll gladly take some magma. Look, I'm the alchemist of the friend group, okay? I need materials to brew potions. Where's the hallway? It's like, I know there's an area that leads to more. There you are. I was like, I know the layout of these too fucking often. Literally, the only reason I know this layout is because the other server I was a part of. I had this one really close to my, I had this incredibly close to one of my builds. So we just had... Wrong wall. So we just had a little... Oh, it's a 3-for-1 deal. Again, I have like a deep fucking hatred for brutes. So every time I see them, it's on site. Like, I do not need to be in creative to do that shit. Alright, cool. Back on the way. How? How? Why? Hello, game. I don't know what bullshit. I don't know why the bullshit's being like, we're gonna act up today.
I did it.
Yay! I'm just destroying the nether economy.
Oh, cool.
It's the nether. It's basically fucking hell.
That's a blast.
Listen, the only thing that lives in here is just a rip-off zombie piglins, zombie pigman, and a beast that have made my life a living hell. Before I was overpowered, I got like my ass kicked by a bunch of piglin brutes, which is why I despise them. Cause fuck them and everything that they stand for. I've never hated something in my entire life more. in this game. Again, I was like, yeah, I would love to go check in on that server. I'm not even whitelisted. I no longer even have the thing anymore. Like, it's been, what, 2 years? A year? We're gonna say roughly, like, a year. Since I last checked upon that server. And I know damn well it's not been updated. So I was like, y'all can keep doing what you're doing. I'm just gonna do what I'm doing. Freedom! Possibly not. Ow, fuck. My foot went to sleep and it twitched and that hurt like a bitch.
Is that a rhyme?
No. That is an honest thing. My foot twitched and it's asleep. So I just felt a shockwave go up my entire leg, and it's already irritated because of the tattoo. So she's like, we're gonna be extra spicy today. I'm also genuinely surprised. I know I'm in like not the right spawn area. I'm surprised I've not found another rack. Or what the fuck are you called? Ancient debris? Ancient debris. No! The glowstone! I'm so sorry! But it must be done. I'm still fucking stuck in here. I'm back in the fucking building again! I know it's not the right quote, but still. Whoever decided to put their hands on my kids. Please come outside so I can casually break your legs. Ooh. Ow, my neck popped and then like I felt something move. Ow.
Come here, baby.
I also despise this biome, so I'm just like, please let me the fuck out of here. Good sir, I'd like to be let out of this fucking biome. Cat's being naughty.
Why are you grabbing my shoes?
Are we free? Are we free? Don't want to get my hopes up. Because that looks like just a flat lava pool. It was freedom! Let's go! Zoomie time. Zoomie time. Alright, how's everything going? We are still not even halfway there. Not even the fucking other portal we have here has changed. That's cool. I think that's the first time I've seen like a full like spine or rib cage. She's like, what?
Have fun. I don't use the bathroom. You're stupid, Bean. I literally showed you where it was. You are stupid. I'm not putting it on my bed. Last time I did that, you made crumbs everywhere. Yeah.
God, I feel so bad if anyone tries to like download my game world and they're just gonna see fucking just areas just blown out. Nah, the baby's kind of dumb.
Wow, she is. Alright, baby. I'll be right back. If you haven't done any yet, I'll be disappointed.
She's not going to.
I know.
Oh. Oh, she's sniffing. She's sniffing around. Come on. You're very close. Come on, you're almost there. You just gotta lift your head up. Lift your head up. Yeah, there you go. See? Yay! She did it! Oh, nope. She put them on the bed. Oh, hey, there was an Enderman. Oh, hey, there's an Enderman. Are we finally smooth sailing for once? I see it. I know where I am. Yep, alright. We are... Okay, so I have been there. So the nether cottage one's around here somewhere. Let's see if I can find any of the other, like, holes I made in this world. There's a bunch I made. There's just a bunch I made trying to travel through this area. Why? How do I go a new route every fucking time? Embrace a new man every night. My life's one never-ending carnival. I want the doozy, the flashing lights. I want to. Yeah, somehow I go a new route every day for this. Every time I travel through this area, so, this is not a fucking surprise. Possibly? 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 Nope. Oh, hey! I'll gladly take that. Just add it to the pile. Well, we got another goal. We finally got an ancient debris piece on this adventure. Of just casually blowing up an entire ecosystems. But it's fine. Oh, we're just gonna... She ate them.
She did it.
Bad news is there's still crumb on your bed.
Why?
Because she would pick them up and then drop them on the bed.
Why do you hate me? Why? What did I ever do to you? I only ever give you good things.
You give her a shot every night.
To help her!
She doesn't know that.
It's her medicine.
She doesn't know that.
I took it all. Here.
What fucking song? Is this Animal Crossing? This is fucking Animal Crossing. hope I was like, do you need another bag of Temptations? Because we have a bag just stashed in here.
No, she doesn't need any more. Not her chunky stuff.
I really fucked up this this world's property value. It's like, yes, what is so wrong about this world? Would you like to see the millions of fucking holes I traveled through in the nether? Why did you do that? I was too lazy to do /kill.
She licked a wet spot on my bed. So she did try to clean it up herself. Never mind, Dean. You are a good girl. Sometimes.
I could go through that nether, but yeah, here we go. Because that might just lead to more disappointment.
Jeez.
Listen, as much as I love traveling to the nether because it's more convenient, there's just sometimes you just need to blow some holes through walls. And you gotta do that normally because ancient debris mining requires you to fucking just blow holes in walls.
Oh my. You say ancient?
Ancient debris.
I have no idea what that is. Is that a new thing?
Very, new in your standards, old from mine.
Okay.
Because it came out with another update, which is like how many years ago? It's old as hell.
Oh. But I haven't played Minecraft in years.
Yeah, so I was like, it's new to you, old to me.
Okay.
Basically, thing you need to make diamonds more powerful.
Oh.
Yeah, which when you make another which you use gold, you combine that. It's all just a bunch. Yeah.
Wow. Makes me feel ancient.
Me, every time someone says the end update, I was like, that can't be that long ago. And they explain how long it's been. Well, fuck me, I guess. But again, I'm a very old bitch. I was playing since one of the oldest versions. I don't remember what version. But it was like, it's one of those very like first versions. I have to look. Because I just cannot remember what version it was. Oh, fucking hello, you bitches. Didn't find any virus detection. Well, that's fucking great, good sir. Where's your chest? Good sir, if you have no value to me, I will... Okay, we're just gonna blow a hole through the wall. And that threw me in the lava. That's fine. It's fine. The piglin don't deserve to breathe. What the fuck? Oh, I blew up a chest. I straight up just murdered a chest. Whoopsie. Oh, because I'm in the fucking building. Bone blocks. Bone blocks. This one never-ending carnival. I was like, there's no way I missed the main area. But it's fine, because I also fucking despise... Again, it might seem like I hate a lot of things about Minecraft. I don't. I just hate some certain things. Most of them being the nether. But again, I don't know a lot of people who like actively enjoy the nether. Like outside the fact that you get like very like quick, like, fast travel. Don't know a lot of people. And of course, ancient debris mining, because this is sometimes fun as hell, just having a bed and just going pop. Come on. I should be looking to see if I, like, get any ancient debris, but at the same time, like, nah. Gold nugget. Why is there so much fucking gravel? So every time it seems like I'm aiming for the gravel, I fucking am. Fuck gravel. I have 4 pieces of ancient debris I have found so far. Oh, cool. Hey, lava. My God. We're not free. Fire in the hole. I gave Valorant people when they hear that fucking phrase. Oh my God. Freedom! Woo! Freedom! Oh, okay, yeah, we're gonna find the Technoblade build I did before we find anything else. But we're just also going like a different route now, yeah, because the lava is still fucking flowing. Again, I said I will never find most of these holes ever again I make. And it's just because I go a different way every fucking time. Like, I'll just go in the general direction, but then I'll just be like, hole in the wall. I embrace a new man every night. My life's one never-ending carnival. At least I know what biome the build is in. That's what I remember. It's in the basalt biome. But also, fuck that biome. I can... See, and there's sometimes I just have to do that. Like, sometimes I just need to, like, not have destructive tendencies. Because sometimes I can just find these. Hello, blue blazes. How are you? And then sometimes I'll look at it and I'll just go like, nah, yeah. Oh wait, never mind. We're good. We're in the clear. Nope, fuck. Oh, my foot's asleep. Oh, look, we gotta do a little shift. There we go. Also, for one of my classes, I have to make a YouTube channel, and I made a joke to someone. I was like, which one do you want? That's gonna be a fun discussion. What YouTube channel would you like, good sir? I think that's cute. Every time I see like something like riding on a strider, just makes my brain go burr. I was like, wait, I did not think this weapon was that powerful to kill a ghast. Oh yeah, foot's like deeply asleep. Ow. You aren't mine. But you do have the good shit. I went on the wrong side. This is fine. Oh, you're stuck on the fucking thing. You burn, bitch. Burn. Yeah, again, roots, I fucking despise them. Is this the only one?
See, it's not because of the wither. She just does it for fun, apparently.
Damn. Just like, how can I cause some chaos?
How can I make as much noise as you want?
Also that. Alright, where's the hell? It's the other platform. Oh no, I gotta knock you fuckers off just for the fuck of it. You are a lucky bitch, but you ain't moving. I hear you slappy fuckers. I know. It's like, please, get a move on. I'm like, nah. How the fuck did I miss? Here it is. I'm gonna check my fucking hit list of how many piglins I've murdered. Again, I hate that, like, this layout is just fucking inscribed in my brain. Golden apple, I'll take it. Ancient debris, I'll take that. You can casually fucking die. I keep doing the wrong wall. More ancient debris, I'll take it. Quick charge, I don't need that. Everything else I don't need. Thank you for your gracious donations, but we out of this bitch. I don't go for my murderous tendencies to blow shit up, I can find my way out. What? What do you want, sweet baby?
Attention.
This one is not mine. Fuck that Boston. I'll find it on the way. I'll find it on a random journey through here again. Yeah, there's sometimes like this where it's just like, no. Only way to get through? Fucking beds. See? Hmm. Well, I just realized if people download this world, they're gonna have to get the texture pack, 'cause my texture pack, because I've used a lot of shit with my texture pack on this. Is that fucking Shadow? I like looked over at the song that's playing so I can see it, and it was just like, oh, it's Shadow. Like, why is he here? Damn, we still going. Why am I hearing a heartbeat? It's not my music, so I know my music's incredibly low. I'm so glad I already got explored the big four nether biomes, or else I would have been, like, I would have gotten it by now. Freedom! I've been here before. I've 100% been here before. Yeah, if it's bombs like this, I'm not gonna do like explosions because these are one of this is biome where thing is located. This is where the build is located. Never mind, I could have done some shit because the lava is flowing. I like the song that's playing. I just realized what it was, but I like it. See this biome I can't go berserk on. Jesus Christ, how far have I traveled? I should have looked. Because I know with command blocks, they're coming. You can, like, add them to your thing. So I could just make this easier. Just make a little teleport area. And just have, like, the buttons and shit. And then just press when I need to go somewhere. I can write down the chords. Those are pretty easy to get. Life is whenever Hello, Nether Fortress. Don't care for you. God fucking damn it! How far is this fucking thing? There's gonna be a day I'm gonna play in this world, and there's just gonna be a fucking, like, giant asshole from all these points. It's just gonna be one giant hole straight through. It's gonna be great. Oh, hey, Enderman. Ah, we found a hole! We found a previous hole finally. We finally found what I made. Which 100% means we're somewhere.
There he goes. I got Zhao to 70. He made it.
Woo! Brittany now has my kid. We're not gonna question why or how. Just know that I have now been bestowed upon some bullshit luck when it comes to pulling out other people's accounts.
Yeah, so when Baiju comes out...
Baiju comes out, you go into my world, you go into his pharmacy.
Definitely.
If he is not a healer, which I highly doubt he's going to be a healer, I'm gonna have a very strong word from the Hoyoverse.
Hasn't been confirmed yet.
He works at a fucking pharmacy!
Still hasn't been confirmed.
don't give a fuck if this is confirmed or not.
I want him to be a healer, believe me.
And suddenly 2 hours have gone by. Yeah, oh my god, it has. Ah. Welcome, welcome. We still going through the nether. Welcome back, VR. Still going through this godforsaken. Please. 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 Fuck. I sometimes forget. Like, goddamn, nether's fucking huge. And that I have to, like, travel, like, thousands of blocks. Because, again, we passed the nether, we passed the cottage spot because the thingamabobby. We found another hole, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to I have very, very murdery tendencies. When it comes to the nether. How the fuck did I get out from here last time? I'm pretty sure I found like a very like tiny ass area. That's how. Yep. Wait a minute, it's 3 AM. What the fuck? Please go to bed. I've already opened that. Why? Because it's 3 AM and you have a test. That gas just like disobeyed the laws of physics. It's like, I feel like I know must. Wait. This can't be my normal one. We'll figure it out. So, I don't want you to pass out doing your test. Oh my god, it was! Hey! I was like, wait, this looks familiar. Also, ignore the obscene amount of animals that are in the nether. Like, don't question it. Ooh, baby got the big eyes. And of course, it's fucking raining, because why else would it not be raining? And we back home. Welcome to I always build cottages. Ignore this one fucking side. I can't fix it. I've tried. Alright. Going there. Also, if you're wondering where all this shit's from, it's called I had a server with friends, and this is all collected. I've never passed out in school or in general, so don't worry. I'm stressed as they have to test and taking a little rest and watching the stream again. Hi, and welcome. Welcome to the Little Stream. You get to see me be ADHD brain and forget to put shit in spots. Also, I somehow got the correct ones. This was from here. Welcome to all of my old streaming stuff, or my old things. These used to have textures to it, so we just changed the name a little bit. Don't know what happened to the guy. I dropped my phone in my face. Why do you always do that? Alright. Values. I need to turn all of that. We have more food. Hold up. I don't think I have any end blocks. And I can consider obsidian like an end type thing. Let's say that. I feel like every time you come into my stream, you always drop your phone on your face. Got more diamonds finally. We got more redstone finally. More emeralds. Hello, Edward and cat we have not yet named. I feel like we've named that cat. I just haven't mentioned what the fuck the name is. I forget the fish. We're putting the disc in here. Oh yes, the fucking millions of totems of undying I've collected. We're not gonna ask. Where's the enchanted books? Right there. I'm looking at it like a bitch. I hate how they changed how that looks. I despise it. Wheat. Carrots. Where's ocean stuff? Ocean. That was the stream beforehand. Gotcha. I was like, when the fuck did I kill a guardian? It's the last. My introduction. Hi, I'm VR. I'm an idiot, likes to draw, and addicted to VR games. I'm probably the worst sleep schedule than you. You probably do. Oh yes, we have the blindness bullshit. I have another fucking enchanted book I didn't realize was in here. Oh yes, welcome to the army of enchanted books, where we have Sneak. That has not been upgraded. But I also despise how these all look because the last one was nicer. This is tools. That's a stone. We'll just add that flint. Values, I have more emerald and golden blocks. I don't think I forgot the iron blocks. Mob drops, we can throw the arrows in there. I'll split the gunpowder. Here comes the I don't know how I fell on my bed. How? What about the fucking coal? Yeah, no question. Nature's armor. I always think I spelled armor wrong every time I look at this godforsaken chest. That can go in there. Weapons. Oh, I clicked on the right chest by accident. I was like, I don't see a chest that has animals in it. It's just how it be. Sometimes brain just goes, we're just gonna be a mess today. I feel like TNT can be added to weapons. But I need to make sure. Actually, no, not. We're just gonna have explosion chest. Look around to make sure, like, no other chest has, like, explosives or anything. That is the boom chest. Respawn point set. Whoa!
There's still a CD in my fucking inventory, but that's fine. That can chill there.
It's not a full 2-hour stream. I don't know, maybe it is. We'll fucking see. But that's where we're ending. Because I'm tired and I have shit to do. Oh, 2 hours and 16. That's not too bad. Let's see. Who is live that I'm following? No one that I follow has like a relatively small viewer. Oh, she's pretty. Not a real person. Why does Among Us have 2 game categories? Why is help wanted? Okay. What? Someone for like the cover art for Minecraft, not Minecraft, for a game was really pretty. So I was like, I swear I'm not talking about a real person, even though a lot of people in real life I think are very pretty. Someone has the nuts as their name. I'm sorry. I usually like never look at like Valorant. But the title's funny as fuck. Rain. Wait, I had to play a VR horror game. Alright. We found a person. I have no idea if this command still works. I don't even... Cool. It does work. I was about to say, I'm not even sure this command is even updated anymore. But that is all the socials. Yes, I made a link tree because I'm a bitch. Yeah. I don't stream Mondays. Because fuck Mondays. I want my Mondays to myself. I need to have an end screen again. Yeah. I will be live Tuesday. To the alt is good. Oh my God. Yeah. I need to stream more of my alt. I need to have just like late night things. Did I have a great day? Let's see. Thank you. But yeah, we did my goal and then it took us like an hour and a half to get back. Yeah, I will be live Tuesday. Hopefully, possibly. I don't know what we'll be doing. We might be starting Stray finally, or it's back to Genshin and I just speedrun Lantern Red like a bitch. It's one of those two.